What's up, guys? You are on the air and off the books with Beth Ann and Samantha, and today we have special guest Amy T. Don't know if you want us to say your last name.
Hello.
Yes, and
Bad
we are doing part 3 of Never Have I Ever. I know you guys were here for part 1 and part 2, and now you're back for part 3. Woohoo! With more crazy questions, more crazy
controversial
fights.
answers, more fighting.
Yep.
Beth Ann might get thrown against the wall. We don't know.
You just never know what might happen.
Slamming, it's me getting beat up because I'm the one that has.
We're just getting too wild.
That's right.
Sorry about the smell of my fries. They're pretty stinchy.
Yeah, because all of you out there in audience land can smell fries.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. We'll be all right.
Yeah, truth. You smell my coffee though. That might be good.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
Ready, Freddie Odie?
So I wrote some questions this time, guys, and I've kind of struggled a little bit because we've done 2 parts of this, but hopefully we got some good stuff that we can talk about, and hopefully we'll get some fun answers. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's just jump right into it. Feet first. All right. Never have I ever finally consented to read a book I'd sworn not to, only to find that I loved it.
Oh no, not yet. Not yet.
Tell me about it, Samantha.
Yes, 50 Shades of Grey. I was like, ugh.
Oh God.
Gross.
Samantha,
Not going to read
what did you
that.
say that for?
And I'm just like, yes, 50 Shades of Grey, my dude.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
No.
100% loved it.
So what in that case? What convinced you to try it after you'd sworn you wouldn't read it? What was that thought process like?
I saw the movie, and it took my soul away, and I was like, okay, well, gotta
What
read the
in
book.
God's name kind of an answer is that?
It's a truthful
swear on
Oh my
everything.
God.
That's
The third-
the craziest
the
answer
third
I've ever heard in
movie,
my life.
The ending was so sweet, and I was just like, oh.
They did kind of wrap it up all nicely, didn't they?
Yes.
I literally
Can't.
Yeah, I cannot.
Beth-
I'm hoping
Beth
Craig is
cannot.
that for me.
Yeah. Well, I
Takes your soul
recently.
No.
You want it to be bad?
No, I don't want it to take my soul away. I don't think I'm gonna like it that much. I hope that I like this romance.
You're gonna like it.
I hope. I have not been. I don't think I've ever willingly read something that I didn't want to read.
Right.
I'm so mean. I'm like,
Just
oh, maybe I'll read this.
Yeah. Well, I not that long ago read, and if you guys have listened to part 1 or part 2, you will know I swore I would never read Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh,
Oh, I want to read
It's
that.
beautifully lyrical, the way that
Really?
it's written. The story's maybe not necessarily for everybody, but the way the woman writes about the South and about they say it's like a coming of age story, and about the growth and the internal process for this one central character, and how she lives and loses and loves and just all these different things. The poignancy and the melodrama and the tenderness and the longing and it's a very poignant book. It's really the only way that I can describe it. And the way that the author writes with such a delicate hand, and it's just so lyrical and beautifully phrased, and you just... It's like taking a bite of something that warms you inside. Like
apple pie.
I can't
Pumpkin pie.
I can't describe it. It's
Chicken nuggets.
almost everything that I say is going to sound so saccharine and cliched, but it's very haunting the way that it's written.
I wish I had that kind of brain where I'm just like, I read something and I'm like, that was just so poetic, and I'm just so like
moved.
Never. Gonna
I'm
be able to
not
recover.
emotional like that. I'm just like, no, it has to say it straight up.
Poetic for me like that, but the Natural series I didn't think would be good.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
guess that's true. I did have that. So
But yeah,
now
so
I love it.
I guess that just goes to show you don't necessarily think that just because you've gone on for a long way thinking I'm not going to like this. Sometimes you got to give something a chance and just
That's
see.
right, guys.
Just
Like
see
me
where
and
you
this dumb romance.
just see where you go with it, because let me tell you, very pleasantly surprised
Worried
by
you're
Where the
gonna hate your
Crawdads Sing.
My book.
So
Yeah. You're gonna be like, it was fine.
Eh,
It's
trash.
fine.
It's trash.
Alrighty. So, this question, when I wrote it, I kind of think maybe we touched on it, but I don't think we ever specifically asked just this question. Never have I ever judged a book by its cover.
Oh, all the time.
Either way,
Yeah.
whether for good or for bad.
I always judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Like,
And I think, like I said, I think we've talked a little bit about cover art and what kind of draws you
makes
versus what doesn't draw you, but
all
I
the
think it's a
freaking
very
difference.
powerful thing that I'm sure the publishing companies really watch for quite a bit, and they probably put a lot of thought into how
Yes.
that.
Well, I
is
think
done.
that's a failure of. I think that's a big pitfall that people come into who self-publish. Like, I think unless they really like spend some cash, like I think that's one of the hardest things. And that to me would be a reason why I wouldn't want to pick
Mhm.
something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to explain that. I think that's a caveat there because they don't have at their disposal people who are funding that, doing
Yes,
that for them,
precisely.
causing somebody to go in and be paid to illustrate something. Like,
Yes.
things that are popping and eye-catching, especially if you're like a visual learner and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It makes all the difference.
The
It tells you
worst.
secrets.
Yeah. The worst covers for me are Western covers, Western books,
Yeah.
and movie covers.
Movie covers, and I hate the like Harlequin romance covers.
Yeah.
The people.
Oh,
If it
yeah.
has,
Those are
like-
cringy. And the people
Uh.
don't match the description that are in the book. That's
Right,
the worst.
exactly.
Yeah. Or like if there are like real people on the cover, then generally I don't like the book. But like nowadays they're doing those like realistic faces, but they're like airbrushed or like they're drawn in like some kind of online like thing or whatever.
Right.
But they're a real person, but they're stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
But I don't like it when there's like a guy holding a girl around her waist from behind, or like he's like dipping her into oblivion. Or,
Into
Like, it's all
You're into
look like-
oblivion. There you go.
yeah, it's not my favorite.
Yeah, not necessarily the. Yeah, it reminds me like of the old time, like the '80s romance novels. Like I'm imagining the ones that my mom used to read. We talked about the bodice rippers, like where they're,
Yeah.
Fabio.
they're exactly. Those are
With the
so.
guy like lounging like this,
Yeah,
and the
and
girl's
the
like
one
lounging
piece
on
of
top of
cloth
them.
covering
Yeah.
all the
Exactly,
goodness,
the good
and you're just
parts,
like,
and you're just like, what in the world?
Wonder what
am
this
I
book is
looking
about.
at? Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Must be about
does
chocolate
it?
cake.
Yeah.
Precisely. Like I feel like I'm going to read an
Wink,
in-depth discussion about physics in this book. No, not quite. Yeah, it's not going to be an intellectual challenge to read that.
Maybe a little
Exactly.
chemistry. You
Little
know?
chemistry.
Chemistry there. We might have that. Yeah, but yeah,
Oh,
So,
Lord, you
very
crack
very
me
easy
up.
to judge a book by its cover. I think so.
I agree. I agree with you.
Like I said, for better or for worse, we can do that either way. So, all right. Never have I ever lied about reading a certain book to someone because I was embarrassed or been tempted to lie.
Have we answered this one already?
I don't know if we
No.
have or not.
I've been
not
tempted to.
specifically.
I'm not gonna lie about that. I've been tempted to because it's like if somebody asks you, "Is this really popular book?" and you're just like, eye roll because I don't want to read this book, and you're really tempted to just be like, "Oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
I read that." Like, I mean, usually I'm just like, "No, honestly," and they're like, "Oh my god, you haven't?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No."
I'm not even gonna lie. Like Nolan will ask me if like I've read a certain comic and I know who this character is, and I know he's gonna go on like this whole spiel about this,
Nolan, don't listen.
like
to
a 10-minute
Turn it off
long.
here.
And I'm just like, yep, I've read it to like save myself from having to listen to him like talk about it for like 10 minutes.
Poor Nolan.
And I'm just like,
Oh my god.
We didn't know this was going to be a marriage
Sorry, Nolan.
truth
love you so much.
episode.
When they need counseling after this
Yeah.
episode,
Right.
the next episode is Nolan.
Yeah.
Feature Nolan.
Send in your donations for Samantha's marriage
We need to
counseling.
go
Yes.
through the account for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Save their marriage.
Well, and I think it's, this is something, part of this is something we've talked about before, the unapologetic reader thing. I think part of this goes into, we can get so stuck into worrying about what somebody else might think
We all do that.
rather than just read what we enjoy
This is your
And-
moment of clarity right now.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
me
just-
just lean in close to the mic and
just-
let you know.
Yeah, just
This is a soul check.
This is
Soul
leave it
check.
to me to bring the soul check into
Yes.
Never Have I Ever.
Things are
Today, I
about to
will
get
bring
really
it-
serious.
Things are about to get real. Amy is going to lay some truth down. Read what you love, guys. We've said this over and over again, but we've all felt like it, and maybe the environment where the three of us work, we sometimes have to maybe embellish a
Be
little
all
bit
things
because
to all people.
we're trying to never let someone feel badly about what they like to read. So we might challenge. We might hold back just a little bit with what we personally love. But in your personal life, in the privacy of your own home, in your mind, wherever you all this, just read what you love, guys. Life's too short to not enjoy what you're reading and just enjoy it.
Who cares what other people think?
Yeah, it all goes
Honestly.
back to, it's the same as anything else in life.
Even me, who hates everything you
Who
probably
hates
read.
everything.
Yes.
Even Beth Ann, who's the biggest naysayer in the world.
Don't listen to me.
you know,
Just read what you want.
Just
dude.
like
I do.
just like in life, we shouldn't let anybody live rent free in our heads. We shouldn't worry about what other people. Put that to the test in your reading life.
Books are free for a reason around here.
Yes, and there are as
Well,
many
you know what I mean.
as many great ideas for books as there are great people in the world. So just there it is, people. There's the truth.
Unless you lose your library card,
Thank
then
you
you gotta
for
pay
being
$2.
therapy
Just
session.
read what you love. Read what you love. All right.
That was a good one.
Never have I ever.
RWYL, read what you love.
Never have I ever joined a Facebook reading group.
I have. I've created one as well.
Nice.
I have
Nice.
not.
I have. They didn't go well. It's hard to keep up, especially when nobody reads what you read.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's really difficult to also start book clubs, and I've also tried to do that too. And it's also
Right.
very difficult to try to get people together to be willing to read what you like.
Yes.
I think the only reason why Samantha and I work so well is because we have that one thing we like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would both be like, "You want to read this? No.
No.
You want to read this?
No.
Exactly.
Or they were like, "Oh, I guess we can read it." And
Yeah.
it's just we struggle through everything. So, yeah, it's hard, guys. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Well, I have
Okay.
one, and I think I've mentioned maybe mentioned this group on here before, called Bookaholics Cafe
Yes.
Oh, okay.
on Facebook. That's actually really, really good. And the thing I like about that one is that I'm constantly. It's not specifically like a reading group about reading a certain book or but I find it interesting when somebody asks, like, give me a good psychological thriller to read. Well, that's kind of one of my genres that I love. So I'll follow that post just to kind of see where other people, what other people's suggestions are. So in that way, I kind of really enjoy that type of a group. So in that sense, it's nice. I've never joined one where they read specific books and then talk about, because that I just think, like what you said, it's
It's too niche.
there's too much that you may or may not like what's
I don't
going
know.
on.
I kind of wish we had more like bookstores like Chapter 2 over there
Yes.
around here, like used bookstores where you can go in and have that like atmosphere.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Barnes and Noble, but like I wish we had a little bit more of that. Like when I lived in Indy, there were so many everywhere, and it was
Right.
just delicious.
Exactly.
Delicious.
Delicious. A lot of fun.
It's conducive to being able to like be in a community of book talkers, and that's fun.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
fun.
Oh yeah, that's a blast.
So
Nothing more than, obviously, given the fact that we're here, that we like to do more than talk about books.
Yes.
right, we do a lot of book
We
talk
do
around
a
here,
lot of book
obviously.
talk around here, obviously. So, here's a fun one. Never have I ever gone over the top fangirl over a character in a book.
Yes.
Every time we go on this podcast,
Every
we talk about the
time.
magic.
Yeah.
So there's like one character that you just are literally in love with, and you'll hold them to your grave.
I'm
Maybe.
literally always in love with the bad boy in every single book that I read.
Is there one in particular that you just could never get over?
Yes. The guy in the
I
book.
thought you weren't going to tell me for a minute. I'm like, waiting, cricket.
The guy in the
Who?
book that you're about to read, Crave, one of the
Main
brother of the
characters.
main character. Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
Interesting.
He comes in more in book 2, though.
I think I've never been so emotionally connected to a character that I could never like live without them again. I've read books like Fahrenheit 451. I've read like 80 times, and it's not because of like his character; it's the book.
Right, sure.
So I don't know that I've ever read something and had a personal connection with somebody so much so that they'll stay with me forever.
Right.
And that sounds so awful.
No,
being a book lover.
Right, no.
But
Maybe it's just that for you it's the book connection more than it is the character connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I take everything as a whole and what it gives me, or like pieces of the person. Nobody's ever been good enough.
Nobody's good enough.
Nobody's good enough for me.
Yeah. I probably have lots of books that fall into this category. And it's not always necessarily just a male character. I'm not necessarily talking about fangirl as in, oh, he's my dream book date or whatever. But, I mean, there are a lot of female characters that I'm just like, they're such bad, ASS women that, like Katniss Everdeen. She's like a butt kicker. I mean, I love her spirit, and I love her, Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter books.
Catnip Evergreen? No.
There's another one. Jo in the book Little Women. I love her tenacity and her.
You guys like predominantly
strength.
Female leads, though, right?
Somewhat,
Yes.
but there are some guy leads too. That I've enjoyed, but there's just something about really having a soul connection to a character in a book where you really understand where they come from.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I think that I
really
don't
enjoy.
usually like the woman role in the book.
Right, and I think we've talked about that a little bit.
Usually they get on my nerves really bad.
Yeah.
I'm always like, and I don't have a favorite female actress because I can't stand any of them.
Yeah, sometimes it's
same kind of. Yeah.
True that.
So I don't know. That's a good question. That makes me really think. If I figure something out later, if something comes to me, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Visualize
Thinking, my brain's going into overdrive.
All right.
Going into third gear. Yeah.
Never have I ever attended an author event.
I have.
I'm
Many.
not.
I have not. Tell us
Really?
about some of the ones that you have.
So really cool pre-COVID when I lived in Indianapolis, Butler University, is that so right?
Mm-hmm.
Butler, whatever. I just called it Butler. But Butler, they would host famous authors coming in all the time. And if you went online, you could buy the tickets for like $1, $2.
Nice.
And so I got my hands on tickets to go see Khaled Hosseini, who wrote The Kite Runner.
Oh.
And what they do is they have him sit, and obviously they interview him, book talk him. He talks about his inspiration and things like that. And then you get to like meet him after he signs your books. Lois Lowry was there. And then I saw also, probably that's so memorable I forgot.
Busta Rhymes.
But yes, Busta
There you
Rhymes,
go.
exactly. That's exactly who I met. But I've been to quite a few. And I also had a correspondence over email for a long time with one of my favorite authors. And he wrote me letters, sent me book plates for all the books that I had, drew me pictures, we emailed back and forth.
Awesome.
It was actually really cool.
Very good.
I did that a lot growing up.
I want to go to one of those events where like the voice actors of like shows come and they like talk about the show and talk about like how they
like a panel and like a Comic-Con or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I want to go to Comic-Con so bad.
Nice.
I hope they have one this year because I'm gonna be in there like
know.
somewhere.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Never have I ever read a book that made me cry.
Every single book I read makes me cry.
I've read a few that have made me cry, but I don't enjoy that. Salt to the Sea made me bawl my eyes out like an idiot. So did The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
That made me bawl my eyes out like an idiot, but it was more of like a soul-crushing weeping.
Right, gotcha.
Because of humanity.
Sure.
I've read a couple that just made me cry because they were just so dang sad, and I hated it. Like, I don't want to bawl like an idiot sitting here. I have other things I can cry about. I don't need help finding things to cry about.
See, I like it when books make me cry.
I do too.
I don't like that emotional trigger. I hate it.
Oh, I love that.
Because I feel like if a book can't make you cry, then it's not doing its job.
Why do you want to cry?
Because you're supposed to feel it.
Isn't that too, like, emotionally attaching?
Nah.
But why
Maybe that's why
why would you not want to be emotionally attached?
I don't want to be emotionally attached like that. I don't want to be invested that way.
Interesting.
I don't
Beth
want you.
Ann has
I don't want to be so invested in you that you hurt me too. Like, I don't like that.
Beth Ann has book attachment issues.
I could play armchair psychiatrist on that topic for a long time.
I don't like
Beth
that.
Ann.
I don't like you putting on me your crap and making me cry about it. I don't like it.
Interesting. I'm going with Samantha.
Whoa.
I love to, we'll touch on that one personally. Yeah. No.
Oh no.
We won't pick apart Beth Ann's psyche on the podcast. No, I'm with Samantha on that one.
About myself. I'm a monster.
I want to be so emotionally invested with a book that it drives me to strong emotion.
Really?
Whether it's crying, whether it's some other. I mean, I want to be. I want to be sucked in.
I also don't like being overjoyed in a book.
I want to be sucked
in.
Yeah, I hate that.
So you're like an emotionless reader.
I don't like being extremely happy for you.
For me?
Like for you, yes. But not for like a character in the book. Like if you're like, maybe that's another reason why I don't like romance, because I don't like being happy for you. Like I don't want to hear about your wedding. I don't want to hear about all that. Like I don't like it.
So, Beth Ann doesn't like her emotions stripped bare.
Yeah, so you don't like your emotions being shown.
I don't know.
Yep.
I just don't like your mess. I like edge of my seat anticipation.
Sure,
like
right. So there's
roller coaster.
Yeah.
But
so,
I don't want
so
you
some
to,
feelings are good.
Yeah,
I'm
not a monster.
Others not so much. So
entirely.
Yeah. So this kind of tags into another question that I wrote then. Have I read a book that made me angry?
I have.
Is that an emotion? Is that, so let me ask you this, Beth Ann, is that an emotion that you're comfortable with a book making you feel?
It depends.
Okay.
If it's like some kind of crazy injustice, then I can't go on. Like it just, like it makes me want to like call you mean names. Like,
I got you.
Maybe she gets so overwhelmed with emotion that she doesn't want to feel the emotion, and she's like, "No, bye."
I just don't like carrying it with me.
Yeah.
Well, true enough.
Like,
I get angry when people do cliffhangers and then the next book doesn't come out in like for a year.
Right.
I'm just like, okay, wasting my time with that because I'm gonna have to reread it to remember what happened.
Yeah, it just
true
depends.
enough. Yeah,
anger just depends. It just
yeah,
depends on what
and there's a lot of
different
ways you can be angry because, like when you just said that wasn't really the way that I meant the question.
Yeah.
But I hadn't thought about it from that standpoint. My standpoint, I guess maybe where I was coming from was made me angry on like a social level.
Right.
Like a book that I read that I've talked about in one of our previous podcasts, The Whisper Network, which was a lot about sexual harassment in the workplace.
Oh, yeah.
That made me so angry on a social injustice level.
I feel like I only feel like romance emotions.
Fair enough.
I read some books like the book I'm reading right now, Silka's Journey, is pretty hard to take in some spots because I do get so overwhelmingly angry. But I think I don't mind historical fiction because it's based in truth somewhere.
Gotcha.
And I think that's why I can carry that baggage because it's happened. It's over. Right. It's done. It's not like a thing. Yeah. But when you're like making this injustice up, and like you're putting it like I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
I don't know. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I don't like children being in horrible situations.
Taking the brunt of it.
That makes me insanely, hideously furious.
Sure. Well, and I think it's different when you have children that you're close to, whether either like you're a parent, like you guys are, or like I have my great, nephews and great niece, or my niece is a nephew. Yeah. It's hard because anytime I think of a kid going through something like that, I think of one of the ones that I love, and it's just like, oh, I can't even, like, no, stop me.
It always,
the mama bear comes out, and I'm like, no.
It always makes me think, like, I know, like, you're a writer, it's what you do, but it makes me think, like, what made you as a writer want to, like, murder children in your book?
Right.
Or, like, cause children pain?
Right.
My thing is just, like, if it's, like, an offhand thing to, like, add, like, a monstrosity to this element to this killer so that you know he's, like, or she
really
means
vile
business. Yeah. Like, that's different, but I don't need you to go into gory detail about how this person like took advantage of this child.
Right,
like,
exactly.
That crosses a huge line for me.
Like, like there's a way to write, because I've read books where there are pedophiles and there are they've done horrible, killings of, but I think there's a way to write that where you
don't have to go.
You understand what the person has done against the child, but you don't have to have the details of it. You don't.
Right. I think my thing with emotion is it scars your mind. Like, it's too mind scarring. And there are some things, because when you read, it'll never go away. Like, it's there forever. And I think that's why I'm so careful with emotional baggage, because I don't need to carry that for the rest of my life.
Point taken. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Okay, so good stuff.
Well,
yeah, I like it. Never have I ever wished I could be locked inside a library or a bookstore overnight.
I used to feel like that.
Before you worked in a library?
Yeah.
Preferably a bookstore.
Yes.
Yeah, I always thought that would be a lot of fun.
I would love to be locked in a Barnes & Noble.
Yes, but with the Starbucks
available
well,
so that you
yes.
can have your coffee drinks. Yeah.
You know what? We should just call Barnes and Noble and Indy, be like, "Hey, we're
having a sleepover.
We're doing a sleepover thing. It's for our podcast. It's fine. It's gonna happen.
Just give us the keys.
Leave the Starbucks open.
Yeah.
And if you see some books gone missing, it's for the podcast.
Yes,
for
we
the
will return them
for a reason.
when
we
die.
won't return them.
We will not.
Yes.
Sorry, but we won't.
Sorry.
Just walk out with hordes and hordes of books.
Just not going to happen.
Or go to an old antique bookstore full to the brim with books everywhere, floor to ceiling.
Would that not be
dust.
amazing?
Oh, that used to be Dawn's books. Oh, I loved going there.
A cat in the background.
Yes.
Or there. But ghosties, so I don't know, but yes.
But also ghosts, because that's kind of cool, but kind of terrifying.
Not cool, as long as I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with other people. I don't want to be in a bookstore with a ghost.
But not too
overnight.
many people.
Yeah, not too many
Just
people.
a couple.
No, just a couple people. Yeah, I always thought that would be a lot of fun. Somebody locked me inside a bookstore overnight. That's
that'd be so
that's a
cool.
blast.
Find out all the secrets.
Knock on the walls.
Awesome. Yeah, constantly looking for secret trap doors.
I want a big, I just recently was listening to a book that really had nothing to do with anything with this, but the characters happened to be in a library in a private home.
Oh.
And the home used to be a speakeasy back in the day. So there were these secret tunnels behind the bookshelves, and they discovered that's kind of what I think about it being you can discover all the nooks and crannies, and you can they're trying to solve this mystery, so they find all this stuff that they find that they can. That was just right down my alley.
How cool would it be to have an escape room in a real house that has a bunch of trapdoors and stuff like that, and have it be it's not fake, it's not built, it's already there, and you have to find these places.
Because why does somebody have all that?
Well, it'd be like a thing.
Murderers.
It'd be a thing. It'd be a business, not a trap house.
Not a trap house. Oh dear.
Cut.
Not a trap house.
Yeah, so we just said trap house. On the
what's the next one?
An escape house.
Right. No, I get that.
We gotcha.
That'd be so cool.
No, I
All
really
distracted now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we gotta find an escape house, and we have to go.
We're gonna have to call it BNS.
Yes.
No. Cut. No. On second thought, forget that topic.
Oh man.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Moving
right along. Never have I ever bought author or book related merchandise. Not the book, but other, bookmarks, t-shirts, other book related paraphernalia. I'm sure we all have.
I have done
Yeah,
that.
I've subscribed to book boxes that send you stuff.
Yeah.
I
think that's kind of cool.
A good bookmark and a good British
A
copy of a book. Because
British
they always have a better...
Yes.
They always had a better cover art design than we do.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
So if I can get my little fingers on it.
Green,
when I was
green mitts.
when I was in London, there's used bookstores all over London.
I bet.
Glorious, fabulous. And I picked up a bunch of different covers of things that I loved there. I had a couple t-shirts. I mainly am all for a bookmark that is book related. That's about as
I feel like a magnet person.
feisty as I
Yeah,
get.
magnets. You
But I'm
like
not
those
like-
little enamel pins? Like something like that would be
Yes,
cool.
that would be.
Book
I
related.
actually would love to have like a starfish pin to put
Ah.
in my bag that Lisa Phipps.
Yes, her book.
That would
Yeah,
be awesome.
absolutely. That would be awesome.
I'm not like a collector of anything, so
Yeah.
I'm too much of a collector
Oh,
of
me too.
things.
I'm like a I'm going to throw everything away type person.
No, I love to collect.
You get rid of too much. You
I
still
know.
make me so anxious.
I'd text Bethany and I'd be like, "Do you want anything? I'm throwing my whole house away."
Throwing my whole house away.
I'll just bring the house over. You
I'll
can
just bring the
decide
house
what you
over.
want.
Everything.
Yeah.
Just come over and
Hey, we're
take it away.
gonna do a walkthrough before we sell this thing. Just take whatever you want.
Take what you want. Leave the rest. Absolutely. No, I love things like that. I recently I discovered an author that I really enjoy. Her name is Karen Slaughter,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and she has a really great author website, and she has T-shirts and mugs that say "I got slaughtered,"
Yes.
which I think is hilarious
That's
and hysterical.
good.
And I want one of those T-shirts so badly, just because I think it's kind of fun.
Get slaughtered.
Get
Perfect
slaughtered.
last name.
Yes.
She also has one of her characters named Sarah Linton. Her father runs a plumbing company, and he has two daughters, so it's called Linton and Daughters Plumbing. They also have Linton and Daughters Plumbing t-shirts, which I think would be a blast.
That's actually
So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and sometimes so this begs the question. We'll kind of do a little segue with this. What would be too much to you? Like what's too much? What changes it from just enough book-related merchandise to way over the top? We've had enough.
When you're making shrines of like one specific thing.
Sure, good enough. Yeah, good point.
I think that I don't need scarves and mug. Well, maybe a mug or two. But
Like we don't maybe need a whole room dedicated to
I don't.
certain whatever.
Outfits,
Yeah. Well,
I don't need
room decor.
Like
yeah.
I don't need my kitchen utensils to say quotes of, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Sure.
stuff like that. Like I don't mind a mug or two, or maybe even a blanket with an awesome quote on it would be
Yeah.
awesome if I
Sure,
really loved
sure.
the book.
Yeah.
But like I don't need
You don't need over the top. Yeah.
mittens and socks and
A jacket and
yeah, like
and leg
a full
warmers and whatever
wardrobe.
else.
And like
Yeah.
when you walk into my house, you obviously know that I love the Hunger Games.
Right.
But like I
The
don't
Twilight
need that.
fandom.
Yeah, like I don't. That's
yeah.
just
Sometimes it's too much. Right.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
that's why
And
I
this
stick to the book.
and let's make a note here. This is no offense to anybody
Yes.
that goes that far. This is just
If you love it,
this
you
is
love it.
our
whatever.
opinions
Yeah.
of it. For me, that's too
If
much.
you want to
But
do your
if
house,
you love it, you do you. We're all
And
about that.
whatever.
If you
We are
wanna
all about
wanna
that.
decorate your house with SpongeBob,
Yeah, we are all about
You
it.
decorated with SpongeBob.
We think you should just do
Girl,
what
you do
you love
you.
to do. Absolutely.
I'm not even gonna lie. You remember those SpongeBob popsicles that were shaped like SpongeBob?
Yeah,
Those were
they're
like
so
my
good.
favorite. Yeah.
I love the bubblegum on them actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think they still sell them at the gas station doing it.
Stop
Yes.
going there.
Doing
Doing it.
All right. Never have I ever talked about a book on a date. Just
Yeah.
with married ladies, but like before.
I've done it to Dakota on so many pre-marriage dates.
Same.
And he just sits there and endures it like a champ. And he's
Aw.
just
Awesome.
so sweet
That's so
to me.
cute.
And then I see his eyes roll in the back of his head and I've lost
And then
it.
you're like,
And that's when I know
okay,
to
I'm
stop.
done. I gotta
Aw,
pick
I'm
a
just
new-
trying to
pick a
picture
new
you and
topic.
Dakota on a date. It's so cute.
Oh my god.
Hashtag couples goals.
Oh, whatever.
I love it.
We're the weeniest people ever.
You guys
I
are
swear.
awesome. That's what I love about you too. I'm Facebook friends with you, and I see all your cute little stuff, and I'm just like, oh, makes me wanna crochet a heart and
I need to like
and
cross stitch or
carve your
needle
initials in a
stitch.
tree. It's beautiful. I'm divorced, so I'm kind of cynical, but you guys make it look
I
really
am
beautiful,
also
and
cynical and married.
you guys make it look really beautiful, and I envy that. I think you guys are awesome.
Well,
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
I think it's a lot of fun though. It's interesting when you
He's handsome, so it helps.
have a romantic attachment with someone, and you can also talk about something that you love, like books. I mean, I think that's a great thing to be able to talk to your partner or your potential partner
like
about.
last night I called him
Um,
after my game and I was telling him but I called him and he didn't answer because I tried to call him on his break, so he called me when I thought it was his break time. And he was like kind of panicked, and I was like, I just wanted to tell you how my game went. And he was just like, he like sat and listened to me for like 10 minutes, and he was just like, "That's awesome, babe. I'm so glad that you love it. Like that's great." He said, "Just next time, could you just shoot me a text saying that it's not like a super emergency because
You kind of freaking out.
I freaked out and left work."
Are you serious?
He was just like, "So I'm
Poor
just gonna
fella.
go back in and like say it was a false alarm. Just next time, just give me a heads up." But he let me go through all of that.
Aw.
Before he was just like,
him.
"Hey, that was stupid. Could you please not worry
That's so
like
sweet.
Hashtag we love Dakota. That's
Aw,
awesome.
Dakota's
Dakota's
best.
goals.
Look at you, Dakota.
He's awesome.
They love you more than me.
He is. We
Everybody
love it.
loves
We
you
love
more
it.
than me. I'm coming for
No,
you.
you guys are so cute. We love it. We love it.
Beth Ann's plotting a
that's
murder. It's
beautiful.
fine.
She is not.
Maybe.
Might
No,
be.
I don't believe it a
Maybe
bit.
not.
I was not the one to tell you.
He's too cute. I can't do it.
No.
I'd keep him. Maybe in a closet.
Absolutely. There you go.
Crawl
Hang him by his
space.
toes somewhere, and that's all right. It's all good. Never have I ever had my mind completely blown by a book.
Always.
Yes, all the time. Every
Always.
book.
I love that.
Not every book.
Not every book, no, but I
Yeah,
love
guess
it
I'll
when
take
that
back,
happens.
but yeah.
I love it when I finish a book and just go,
That
"Oh
was
my lord, what did I just
Yeah.
read?"
Recently,
Like
I've
that
been on a roll.
feeling is like so amazing to me.
I have not.
Whether
Yeah.
it's because you just completely fell in love with a character, or it really made you think, or it, for whatever reason, I love that mind blown moment.
Yeah,
that's
like
so
when I take
awesome.
a breath and I'm just like, wow, yeah, that was it. Like
Yeah.
that was good.
Like you're complete, like that book Hangover. That's kind of what I refer to as like a book hangover. Like you're just
Like what am I gonna read next?
completely blown away and just in
Yeah.
amazement about something that you read. That's just
A book.
that's a really powerful moment.
Yeah, a book that makes the next book hard to start. Is
Yeah.
A good book.
Yeah, I like that feeling.
And then I always finish a book series and I like novelist, like that series. I'm like, okay, what's similar to this?
Exactly,
Yeah, like,
exactly.
Oh, I need another one of these.
Yeah.
I've had that really recently, and I think that's one reason why I like series so much.
Yeah.
Because once I find something that I really love, like I want to know about every character in it. I want to know about give me some kind of closure on every single possible storyline that I can have, so I can know what happens to this group of people.
I have to do that when I DNF a book and I'm attached to somebody. Like
You gotta know how it
I
finishes.
just need to know that they're all right. Everything's kosher and like move on.
Yeah. So I think we talked about that in the last episode. Like sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta Google that ending to see, even
What's
if you're not
what.
invested in finishing to read the book, but you have to know. You got to find out what happens. You got to find out where you
Where it all
what goes next, where it all
stands.
stands. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a great feeling about the book. I think that's what I love so much about, and maybe that's what draws me to wanting to be an author, wanting to write stuff, is because I want write words right, because I love the idea that something I write would really move somebody to feel something.
I think that's why I couldn't be a writer, is because I would be so concerned with what they thought. Like I would be so fixated on the fact that it would make somebody wowed that I wouldn't be able just to freely write what I write.
Sure, good point.
I don't know.
And maybe that fear is what stops some people. I think sometimes that's what stops me from, really, because
Like,
it's
what
like
if everybody
you got to
thinks
put
it?
yourself out there, and then you got to be afraid of the. I said to a friend, I recently started talking again to a friend that I've known for many, many years, and I mentioned something about like that I've been writing short stories here lately, and that I bring them to work and let some of you guys read them, and I get critiques from you, and he got very offended on my behalf. He goes, "Who's critiquing your work?" And I'm just like.
Yeah,
People that I want their opinion, and
But it's not bad critique.
while I loved
Yeah.
the idea that he was so concerned for my well-being and he
Yeah.
loves me so much as a friend that he didn't want me to be criticized, there is that part that when you write something, you have to be willing to.
Accept some kind
There
of...
it goes again with saying you have to lay yourself bare with, like
Yeah.
these are my thoughts. These are what these ideas and this character sprang from me. So I have to open myself up and say, okay, please tell me. It's like laying your soul bare to somebody that you love and saying,
Yeah.
now tell me what you think.
It's
And
like
that's a frightening moment.
It's like me in painting. I don't like people
that's a
like
frightening
having my
moment
stuff
sometimes.
because I don't want them to hate it because it's not their business.
That's a frightening
I'm
moment.
such a reserved person, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm learning things about myself that I.
Yeah, those moments are kind
How
of powerful.
horrible. Am I
Those
that
moments are powerful.
A terrible one.
No, those moments are powerful though. I agree. Okay, never have I ever read a biography or a memoir about one of my favorite stars, celebrities, or other public figures.
No.
I have
Never?
not anybody who I liked much.
But you have read.
I'm not a big fan of reading. I don't care.
Yeah.
No.
I don't care about
so
people's
mean.
lives.
I'm like, my thing is like, if I'm reading about you, you must be so intriguingly interesting or so messed up that it drags me into your life because otherwise, like, why should I?
Would I want to go there?
Do you want to read about me? No, that's what I thought. Okay, so then just bye. Like, I don't know. I'm rude. Like, I don't care about your life like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I went through a period where I was reading a lot of memoirs and biographies. I haven't read any for a while, but sometimes some people's stories I think are so compelling that I really want.
It just really depends.
That I really want to know a little bit more behind the scenes things about them. Isaac Mizrahi wrote a wonderful memoir called I Am, a Memoir, that was really, really cool and funny. And I think the reason that one touched me so much was that he's such an out there, outrageous, outre, person that the book, like, I could really imagine him just like sitting saying some of these things about himself and about his life.
Yeah.
Like it was fun. So if you wanted something that was funny and touching and just gave you some insight onto what goes on in his brain, that was a really interesting to me, story about someone that is an interesting person.
I feel like you really have to love and be obsessed with a person to really want to read their story. I think, the only good autobiography that I've ever read is Paddle Your Own Canoe by Ron Swanson because Ron Swanson's my spirit animal. Okay, listen, he's amazing.
Right.
Like, Nick Offerman is the best of the best of the best. So read that. That's really good. And he narrates it himself. Dude, so
good
freaking
stuff.
good. Like, I love that man.
So what about historical figures? You've read any? Haven't read any?
I think my thing is if I have an emotional connection with a person, I want to sit down and hear you tell me about your life.
Oh, gotcha. Hear you.
Like, I want to hear you tell me.
Right.
I'll share that with you, but I don't want to. I don't know. To me, is pretentious the right word? I don't know what the right word is. Like, what would make me think that sitting down as a celebrity and writing a story about my life that people would? Am I that stuck up that people would want to read about my life? Like, I feel like who would want to read about my life like that? Like, that's. I don't know. And it's just me. Like I said, don't get offended.
Right.
If you read biographies and crap like that, like, whatever. Like, but to me, like, I don't know, you're not that special. You're just like me.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And if, like, you want to tell me your story, then tell me.
Sure.
You know, like, if we're going to cry together, let's cry together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not.
Yeah.
And also, I think, too, is like some people bear so much. And my other thing is like, my past is not your right. It is a privilege.
Sure.
And if you care about me enough to, like, I want to be able, like, that shows me that you're letting me in enough to tell me those secret things and to tell me about your life, then that means that I must matter to you in some kind of way.
Sure.
So it's like a weird friendship thing for me,
Gotcha.
too. Like,
Gotcha.
and I would rather go to a museum than read about it.
Right.
I want to experience
Good point.
things, not...
Well, I'm a huge Anglophile, so I've read a lot of biographies about, like, the Tudors in England and the, Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I and, Queen Elizabeth II. And I love all that stuff. So I've read a lot of those. Queen Victoria, I've read a lot of, Mary Queen of Scots. I've read a lot of those kinds of things. And, like some prolific first ladies. I've read a lot,
See,
like
I like
Jacqueline
hearing
Kennedy.
you talk about it. But I don't want to read about it.
Right. Well, I think good. I mean, good point.
To each
And,
their
I mean,
own.
some people. I like all of it when it comes to that stuff. I'll watch the documentaries. I'll watch the movies that are made about their lives that are kind of fictionalized. I'll read, any of that stuff. So, I kind of like it all, but there again, like Beth Ann said, it's everybody has their own.
Some
Everybody has
people
their
like
own
peanut
thing.
butter on their pancakes. Some people
Some
don't.
people don't. I'm a no peanut butter on my pancakes person.
No, thank you.
Man, you guys are just
Can't do
weird.
it. My Aunt Gladys, whose birthday would have been a couple days ago, rest in heaven, Aunt Gladys. But yeah, she loved peanut butter on her pancakes. But
You guys
no,
must be
not me.
psychopaths.
Not me. I can't do it.
No.
Can't do
I
it.
love peanut butter. I don't like peanut butter for one. Unless
Yeah,
it's on
I'm
peanut butter and jelly.
iffy about peanut butter. So.
I gotta get out of here. Bye, guys.
I
I'll see
know.
ya. Ugh, that's offensive.
Never have I ever wished I could forget a book that I'd read so I could read it again for the first time.
Yes. What?
It didn't look like it was recording.
Oh yeah, it's just like
Okay, what was the question? Read it again for me.
Never have I ever wished I could forget a book that I'd read so that I could read it again for the first time.
No. I would never want to do that.
Really?
I feel like yes and no. Like when I finish it, I'm like, dang, what am I gonna do? And that would be like nice if I could just like forget it and like reread it again.
Yeah.
But like I can't reread books in general.
Sure.
My thing is the love affair is rereading it again.
See, I'm with you on that one.
I would
I'll go
never
with that
want
one.
to forget Fahrenheit
Yeah.
451 or The Hobbit to re-experience it again because every time I read it is a new layer of like
Good point. I hadn't thought about that when I wrote that question.
And affection, and it matters that much more to me after I read it
Yeah,
again.
good point.
So
Yeah, I
I would
like
never
that.
want to lose those beautiful
I
moments.
like that you get with that rereading.
I can't do it because I know what's gonna happen. So like, why do I want to read what's gonna happen if I already know?
Fair enough.
Because
Fair enough.
there's like a poetic sense of like.
See, I'm not. I don't have that kind of like. I'm not poetic. Like I don't understand that.
I'm not poetic either. I'm
Yeah, you
apparently
are.
an emotionless monster.
You're like a poetic artist.
An emotionless monster.
I'm an emotionless monster.
I'm gonna get Beth Ann a shirt that says
Says
emotionless monster on
Can I
it.
have that across the back?
And I'm gonna get one for Samantha that says non-poetic.
Non-poetic.
So we're gonna, talk about
These are perfect.
talk
You should
about
put the BNS
this is
logo
gonna be
on
this is
there.
gonna
We
be
should,
off the books
dude.
related merchandise that we're gonna make available.
Dude.
Yeah, we're gonna
for
have
you
our own
guys.
store.
We are. We're gonna do it, and
You
I think
really
we
do
could.
need
Yeah,
to write these things down and
I
make sure
think
it's
we're
done.
gonna do it. I think it would be awesome. We should. Yeah. There's another idea for us. Yeah.
All right, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
It does look like it's not recording, but it is.
Okay. Just in
Alrighty.
case. Sorry, guys. We're just double checking our work here.
Gotcha. Here's a good one. Never have I ever learned an unexpected lesson from a book.
Always.
Tell me about an example of that. Give me an example. Put you on the spot.
Oh man. Okay, so I'll just use the most obvious one. I tell everybody why I love Fahrenheit 451. It's my all-time favorite top one book because of reading it and learning. So my thing about books is this: is like I'm a really conservative person, which is fine. We're all about talking about being in your own boat or whatever. You do what you do. My thing is like the thing of banning books. I don't like everything. I don't agree with everything. But my thing is like if I ban books, then they can ban my books. So I'm open to allowing that freedom because of what it could restrict for others or myself, etc. So I look at it selfishly. If I ban yours, you can ban mine, kind of thing. My thing is to keep it free. And I think that's what was one of the biggest lessons. And also in reading that book over and over again, I learned that one of the publishing companies that he went through actually edited the book for content without his knowledge.
Wow.
And took and changed a lot of his work for that book and released it. I think it might have been, I want to say Del Rey, but don't quote me on that. So there are copies out there circulating that are not the same. They're edited copies to reflect like being
appropriateness or
or whatever. So he wrote them and told them, if you don't publish my book the way that I intended it to be written and published,
right,
I'll pull the book and I'll never sell the book again, basically.
Wow.
And he said, I wrote this book because of that.
Exactly.
Things like this.
That's
that
the reason right there.
You are doing without my permission as an author, tainting, changing my stuff. This is burning books. And so it taught me a massive lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's another reason why I love the book so much, because reading was obviously my thing when I was a kid. And
Sure.
it is now, even as a slow reader now. But it just, that's the kind of empowered connection that I have. And that's why I love it so much, because every time I see a copy, I pick it up.
Gotcha. What about you, Samantha? An unexpected lesson?
I don't like reading about people that like bully other people, because then you can just like see like if like you're rude to other people, you can see how it affects them reading through the character's eyes in that book.
Right.
And that's, I mean, generally, like, I'm sure I've learned lessons from other books, but that's like the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to go back to a book that I mentioned earlier, The Whisper Network, Chandler Baker. That book, although I have never personally been sexually harassed in the workplace, I know you guys find that hard to believe because I am super sexy, but no, I mean, sorry, I had to bring some levity into the situation. Let's laugh about that one, but I'm done. But no, it really made me, it taught me the lesson that no matter what, women have to come forward, and women have to speak the truth where they feel uncomfortable in a situation where someone of power is using that against them.
That's
on
a topic
on a personal
I could
level.
dive so deep.
Yeah,
I won't,
and that's a big one. But I mean, but that book really taught me and kind of brought to the forefront a topic that I'd always known existed, but it really made me stop to think about things that I would have never believed would have been sexual harassment, like, whether it's telling a dirty joke that makes somebody feel uncomfortable. I mean, now I think people can take it too far and people can whatever, but we really have to be careful in the places that we work in that we don't, I mean, there's such a thing as trying to be too politically correct, I guess, but we just have to be incredibly careful about what we allow to continue in our midst, because
it made you aware of
in
yourself and others
in for a
more,
penny,
maybe.
in for a pound. How do I know? It's like the expression, give somebody an inch, they'll take a mile. What today is a touch on the leg or a hand on the shoulder, tomorrow might be a grope and a whatever. I mean, you just never know.
Right.
So if something, that book really showed me that if something made me feel uncomfortable, or it made someone else feel uncomfortable, how important it is to fully disclose from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it really made me want to, for the sake of the women in my life who are, all seriousness aside, younger, prettier, more apt to be, I know it's fine, more apt to be the take the brunt of that situation, and really let them know, like the young women in my life that I care about, my nieces, my great niece as she grows up, to really empower herself as a woman and understand that she does not have to put up with those things. Those things are not, should not just be expected. We should not say boys will be boys. If you say boys will be boys, then we aren't teaching boys the right things.
Right.
That is unacceptable.
That's a powerful book.
Absolutely unacceptable. I got goosebumps. But yeah, I mean, so I love when a book can make me really think about those things and really make me feel some kind of way about something, and really give me a sense of, this is a topic that I need to put out there. This is something that I need to speak out about. So I think that I love that about literature, and about, like we said, about documentaries, about specials, about TV things that we've watched. I love that, where something can make you feel a certain way that you just want to say it to everyone you know.
Yeah.
And you want to run a billboard and shout it out, and
books do that.
Post about it on Facebook, and never underestimate the power of what you read and what it can put in your brain. There's another drop the mic
Write
moment.
that down.
Write that down.
Never underestimate the power of what you read. Write it down now.
Absolutely.
All right, my dudes. Well,
this has been so much fun,
yes,
guys. Thank
you
so much for having me again. I have loved this. We all know I love the sound of my own voice, so it's been good.
Yes, and you
Thank
guys.
you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Join us next week. Don't know what we're going to be talking about next week. I think we're doing a book, some sort of book.
Probably something I'm not prepared for.
And yes, awesome. You guys have a great week, day, month, year.
Absolutely. All that.
We'll see you later, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.